This video is best enjoyed with headphones on.
Verge. Blockage ahead. Permission to vroom-vroom.
Let's proceed.
Okay, here come bumpity bumps. Expensive washer fluid. Verge said he paid a fortune.
You almost called me Bug Guy, didn't you? Once again, my name is Gregor, the same way you're called Dante, and not Clockface. Say, Buskerly, where are we headed?
Once again, my name is Caroline. The same way you're called Gregor and not Bug Guy.
She really did.
Verge said, the sinners will go to District 4.
What? Oh! District 4? All upon my ears? That place is known to be the home of the Crest Maiden. 'Tis the origin of the heroine's journey. And 'twas the—
Bloody hell! You're rattling on and on and on. Can't you just shut up and let the trip go in peace?
Why, I'd remained silent until mere moments ago.
I said to shut up!
Sorry, did you happen to realize you're being louder here?
Even if you can't die, you sure as hell can suffer, no? So, say that again.
I say the right thing, and your first response is violence? Shows how refined you are.
Trenches. To write against noisy crying hogs entails scragging.
Senseless violence shan't be forgiven. I will bring about justice.
Aw, I knew this would happen. It left a spot on my clothes. Look, do you guys really have to fight next to me?
Can't take a small break without anticipating trouble, can I? You for cleaning duty for the next month.
Such unfairness. I merely sought the hand of justice.
Oh, also, tell them to do my laundry too. Blood doesn't wash off as easily as wine stains. Dry cleaning's costly.
like you to turn the clock back. That must mean there's a puzzled look where your face should be. I'll keep that in mind. Miss Faust.
It's the same thing you did the day we first met, Dante. Though, I suppose that was more of an instinctual reaction. Now, let's try again. Close your eyes. In fact, the door is everywhere. However, only you can see it. The stars never set in your sky.
How does it feel to have your head back after it was severed? Was it exciting?
Ain't it your job to bring us back? If your job's done, then step aside before I knock your dumb clock off.
Please wait! Dante looks like they're in a lot of pain, so we really should.
Next time, Clockface, you're crushed. Are we clear?
You really are as coarse as you look.
Was dying once not enough for you?
It seems this team's in serious need of discipline. Rule number 1. Do not let me hear weapons clashing inside the bus. If any of you break this rule as of now, you're going to be begging for me to let you die. I'm sure you know I'm capable of that, and more, right? Dante, I'm sorry about this. I need you to rewind one more time. Better open up while I'm still feeling generous enough to ask and offer apologies, Manager Dante. Oh, in case you're refusing simply because you don't want more pain, I can gladly help you with that. This degree of pain will feel like nothing by the time I'm done. Surely, you'll be a tougher person afterward, right?
Did I hear correctly? I'm pretty sure our manager clearly declined your request.
This is not the time to step in.
I was informed when I joined the company that the executive manager would be my superior, not you. I would say that the manager has made themselves clear with a shake of the head.
I see. So their aide has decided to step in. Is that it? Then it is my turn to make clear what I mean. Good thinking.
As you wish, manager.
Thank you very much.
Pardon me. I have a question.
Shoot.
Verily, I understood the first rule well. What is the second rule then?
Really? Why are you so eager to learn that?
Rule number 2. Don't litter the bus floor with cigarettes. They leave burn marks. second. The bus shouldn't be this quiet. Where's the engine's roar? Garon, why aren't you speeding up?
No food. Mappy is hungry.
Good. We could use something to lift the mood. A car needs fuel to run. Garon, try flashing the headlights a bit. Like stage lights.
It stands tiny.
Wait, if we do that, we're effectively asking to be attacked.
That appears to be the intent.
Sorry?
Boy, leave all your stuff behind and get off. You got 30 seconds. 10, 9.
Hey, you skipped 20 of them.
Well, say your prayers for the other 20.
Why am I surrounded by dullards left and right?
What'd you just say?
How cowardly of them to ambush us! They must be villains, without a shadow of a doubt!
Alright, everyone off. And one more thing. We want them near death, not dead. Got it?
Like they're out of their minds. Don't you think so too? That's right. It was by my choice. I'll get used to all this, right?
Tis what I would have done, even if the company had recruited me not! Look, yon horde of evil approaches!
Gee, when was the last time I had a feast? Even a big blocky machine eats better than we do.
Do you mind that all meals are provided with appropriately determined quantities?
It's not nearly enough to get me going.
You think I'm doing this on a full stomach?
It's Enkephalin, an energy source Lobotomy Corporation traded.
You mean the previous L Corp? I heard it produced energy using its singularity, though all that remains of the company now is rubble.
That's right, which is why it's become a rarity these days. However, Mephistopheles is capable of forcibly extracting Enkephalin from the body. Correct. Enkephalin can only be extracted from the brain and the spinal nerves. It can be taken from live subjects for greater efficiency. their blood and flesh can be processed into fuel. While Enkephalin is used to generate ignition and thrust, the remaining organic matter is spent on maintaining speed, thus reducing Enkephalin usage.
A hybrid.
Don't mention it. Faust knows no struggle.
If anyone's doing the heavy lifting, it'd be us. Hey, manager bud. More incoming.
Hey, that's enough of that. We're expecting a guest any time now.
Determined that we'll need a guide, as this is our first trip to a dungeon.
Excuse me. Are you the people from Limbus Company? Looks like it. I'm Yuri, a former employee of the previous L Corp. I look forward to working with you.
Has to be a lobotomy corporation.
That's right. We will explore the former branch facilities of Lobotomy Corporation, also called the Old L Corp.
If I were you, I wouldn't have taken part in this. Being a fallen wing and everything, I doubt your employment ended on pleasant terms.
What are you on about? Any point in your life can be pleasant as long as you've money to spend.
I heard those places are still teeming with monsters to this day.
Not monsters. Abnormalities. Rumors are true either way, but there are more important matters. The deepest reaches of these branches are neoplastic plant-like growths, holding the essence of L Corp's technology.
Dante, if you remember, I believe I offered to let you finish engraving your aspect a few days ago. With the essence, those golden boughs in our hands, it'll be as easy as pie.
There's no need to razz your brain trying to remember what you can't. It'll all come back in due time.
Does that mean we won't have to feed people into our vehicle?
We could also grab some ego if we're lucky, so that's 3 rats with 1 stone.
So, Miss Yuri, what have you been up to since the layoff?
It appears to me that thou art an honorable fixer. It is said that all fixers exude the noble sense of heroes.
I don't know who gave you that idea, but fixers are anything but noble or heroic. The only scent you'll smell is the miserable stink of wage slaves.
It couldn't have been easy to find another job so soon. Good that you're holding up.
For now, I'm just a contract worker.
Uh-huh. That explains why you decided to crawl on back there. They promised to promote you to team leader or something if you struck gold in your former workplace.
My contracts might get extended if I return with results.
Right, a good result is something to risk your life for if you want to earn a permanent spot.
And what a futile life that is.
Hey, what's with the sarcasm? Is something a problem?
I don't know. I have a problem with every single thing I'm hearing right now.
It will be beneficial for you to adapt to them sooner than later, Dante. Charon, time to go. Our guest has taken her seat.
Puppies Tom Rabbi. Charon's raring to drive.
Sorry to ask, but if I have the map, how do you know what roads to take?
We do have something to lead us. Intuition. Charon's intuition.
What?
Pinky here. Explain why you keep rubbing that odd paper in Charon's face.
Because you keep going in weird directions. Take a look at this map. Our destination is to the southeast of here.
Follow the heart. That's where the true path lies.
Here, here! We must follow as our hearts lead.
You're just admitting that you can't read a map.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Ooh! Did our driver make a new friend?
Pinky keeps on blabbing. I know the way.
No, I mean, you're going in the wrong direction.
Look ahead. More obstacles. Do I vroom-vroom?
No, Charon, wait 1 second.
Looky, nice bus you got there. Why don't you give me a ride?
I guess Mephistopheles could use a helping of dessert. Get on down. It needs to be fed just a bit more.
Now, Charon, tell me, is this east or west?
Charon only knows 2 directions. Mephi's front and back.
How did you come so far with a driver who has 0 sense of direction?
Charon, like I said, the sun rises from...
Chiquita, aren't you going to join them too?
I beg your pardon. I am no child, and most certainly not little.
Wouldn't be on the youngest side either. Some nest used to conscript anyone old enough to hold a knife. Not frequently, but it sure as hell did happen. Interested in learning about wars, Manager Bud? Don't get me wrong, Manager Bud. I'm not trying to criticize you or anything. Heck, It's actually a pretty stand-up attitude for a boss, I'd say. Still, ignorance is a gift you should savor while you have it, if you ask me. Once you're burdened with knowledge, there's no going back.
No, you should have turned right at that intersection.
It's okay, Charon. We can turn around at the next junction.
Ah, the woes of a driver.
Well, looks like we have more pressing matters at hand. Ain't that right, Manager Bud?
Enough squabbling now. More enemies inbound.
You shoved my pals into that bus, you sick bastards! Are you nuts? You'll pay for this! We were just gonna leave with a bus, but now I've gotta see you all bleed!
Verge, fuel is making a fuss. Karen will get dizzy if many mouths are being noisy.
Nothing to worry about, Charon. They'll shut their mouths soon enough. Off the bus.
Okay, let's look at the map again.
Charon, can you please focus?
It was made exclusively for us, to be more precise. You appear to be failing to identify the nuance. I can tell that much without hearing it verbalized. There is nothing Faust doesn't know after all. It only took the expected amount of time. Faust is a well-renowned genius. She knows the ins and outs of the city.
Oi, if you're so smart, why don't you help those twits at the driver's side figure out the way? Can't sleep a wink with their constant bickering.
Faust is no meddler. She answers to questions, but doesn't chime in without being asked first. Additionally, there is no greater joy for a human being than to ponder on problems in order to grasp an answer. Faust would rather not spoil that delight.
He wouldn't get it. I doubt he's pondered on anything ever.
You and me both, Manager Bud. You and me both.
Ugh. Greg, you know those pals?
Huh? Give me a break. There's no way I'd know someone in this corner of the back streets.
Gosh. Dante, thank goodness your head's shaped like a clock. I would have gagged if my manager was a huge bug.
Isn't that the same type of augmentation you have, Gregor?
They stitched discussing insect heads to their necks on purpose.
You'd better stay away. Might want to catch the pests, man.
Is that true?
Just a joke. Does my sense of humor not fly with kids your age?
G-Corp had procedures in most employees to give them biomimetic weapons, like the one Gregor has.
You used to work for the old G-Corp, Gregor? That company must have been...
I wonder, where do people like them sleep at night?
For many, the sky is the roof over their head, and the stars are their firelight.
Aha, so they're the poetic sort.
And, unless my eyes deceive me, they're intent on obstructing our journey. Aren't you going to get off, Gregor?
Care to explain why you're calling my name specifically?
Who knows? I don't feel like rambling about someone else's past with my own tongue. Take the lead, Gregor. You know the reason.
You're one nasty fellow. Not too fond of being in the vanguard.
What are you? Why does your arm look like ours?
Oh, Dawn. I've seen that face before.
Mostly on flyers and magazine covers, I'd bet.
Not really important right now, manager. Don't think we'll have the time for reminiscing.
That arm bothers me, but whatever. Point is, I can't let you through.
Why are they showing their buggy sides out in the open anyways? They'd make kids cry. Really odd to take some concealing lessons from our Greg over here, right?
I'm a special case. Procedure makes those buggy parts grow on the head most of the time. Although, I'm not sure if I'd consider myself lucky.
It feels like they're trying to stop us from getting to the branch facility for some reason.
Are they after the Golden Bough too?
Maybe so. There ought to be many who were after the essence, and I'm sure each has their own wishes. Isn't that true?
What's that look for? I haven't got a clue either.
We're here. Charon knew the way all along.
No, you didn't. Sinclair and I had to steer you from both sides, non-stop.
I'm glad that at least you learned to tell the difference between southeast and northeast, Charon.
This is my first time seeing it with my own eyes, too. It can't have been long since that happened.
My goodness, how can a building be in such a derelict state?
This is a surprising scene for a rich boy, is it?
Cut the chatter. Time to step off.
They're fixers from the same office as Miss Yuri. They're experienced explorers who have visited the branches of L-Corp a number of times.
Give your greetings. The person on the left is Hopkins, and the one on the right is Hiya.
Greetings.
The Red Gaze. It's such an honor to meet you. I've heard so many stories of your deeds, and to see you in person.
Yeah. See the shabby warehouse there? That's where the stairs leading to the branch facility are. From there, Yuri here will be your guide.
Yeah.
These fixers have been around a bit. Count on them to handle complications. That should be enough, yeah? This is as far as I can accompany you. I'll be waiting back at the bus. You're sorely mistaken if you expect me to babysit you forever, Dante.
So you'll take a back seat and idle away all alone?
If I get myself involved, the expedition would be a little too free of challenge, wouldn't it? It turned into more of a tour.
In other words, You'll want us to come back red, black, and blue.
That's the kind of line people with ulterior motives say.
Think whatever you want. I've guided you guides and everything. So do your best down there.
Yes, I certainly won't disappoint you, Mr. Red Gaze.
I'll try my best, I think.
Dante, a moment with me, please. Let me tell you in advance that they're only grade 8 fixers. It means they're low-ranked drudges, errands being their main tasks. Use them for your benefit, but don't rely on them. You might be the only one on the bus I can actually converse with. Well, best of luck, Dante.